you go into day 2. This is the top 16, and you and Terry Floyd both made it.
Well, yeah. The interesting thing about day 1 was I had lost that round 5 match, and then was going into my final match of the day, knowing that I needed to win that one in order to make the top 16 cut.
Now, did you just have that? I mean, like when you say you had to win, was there a certain type of victory you needed to get?
Just needed to win that round 6 match to put my record at 4-2, because that was
so just 4-2. Didn't matter about margin of victory.
Yeah, that was the threshold just to make it to the next day. So I was able to win that final match.
You were able to win it?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did win the final match, so went to 4-2. It was a good mission for me and the list that I was using. So yeah, felt pretty good about that one. We all were kind of sitting around. They posted the rankings after day 1, so you can see where everybody was. And the interesting thing was, at that point, I was sitting at rank number 11, and then good friend Terry Floyd also playing.
6, right?
Yep, he was sitting at number 6. So we were kind of doing the pairings math, and figured out that, oh wow, if things are as they stand, Terry and I are going to have to play each other first game tomorrow because of the way that the tournament pairings work there.
It
So
didn't work out the way, right?
no,
Okay.
there were a handful of people that, Paul Heaver being one of them, that were playing in both games, playing X-Wing and Imperial Assault, and then the finals for both games are happening on Sunday, on the next day. So
So he had to pick and choose.
yep, there's a few people who had to decide.
Probably made a good choice.
If you were ranked, within the cut on both games, you're gonna have to pick which one do you want to sit down and play on Sunday.
What's funny about that too is there were probably a lot of people complaining about the way they set it up, but I will tell you, I do conventions for poker, and we set up tournaments, and it is very difficult to plan all those things out, have them separated enough in the amount of time that the place that you're holding it gives you to do these things.
Sure.
And with our poker tournaments is even bigger because we have to coordinate with the poker room and with the hotel, as well as the casinos, the food and beverage staff, and all these things. So I understand how difficult that is. So people are thinking, oh wow, why would they schedule at the same time? It's just I always say, here, man, I'll tell you what, here's everything we got to do. You make me a schedule.
Try to figure it out. Yeah.
I know that probably puts some people off, but it's just the nature of it. And sometimes you got to pick and choose.
Yep. Yeah, it is what it is. So we came back next day for the top 16. Terry and I, found out a few people had dropped in favor of X-Wing, so the standings had shifted a little bit. I was able to bump a few people that were in spot number 17, 18, 19, I think, got to bump in and get to play on day 2. So sit down and played played that first game. I was able to win round 1 on day 2, which advanced me to top 8. Sit down and played that next game, and one of the things I later found out, and I was glad I didn't know it at the time, my opponent in my top 8 game was the only player in the entire tournament that was undefeated at that point.
Oh, wow.
So he was the only player to go 6-0.
Wow.
After day 1, and then I played him in the top 8, and I had a great game. Everything was just going in my favor. I was hot. The dice were hot. It was all coming together, and I was able to win that game as well. And
a little luck never hurts.
No, exactly. I'll say everybody I played against in this tournament was fantastic players, great opponents. Everybody deserves some credit for really putting a lot of effort into it.
That's amazing accomplishment for anybody.
Oh yeah. So I was ecstatic to have made it that far, especially
we were cheering back here, man. I'm telling you, we were all. I don't know if you noticed, we were all talking back and forth on the page.
A lot of Facebook support. Yeah.
And I hope you guys felt the love we were sending you guys.
Yeah, especially to have made it that far with an underdog list, right? With
right,
an
I know.
that list. A lot of people were surprised, and were saying, there's a lot of, I was, feeling a lot of praise about, hey, good job taking the Empire, that far. So I made it to the top 4 and had a super close game. It was actually against one of the opponents I had played.
I was reading on there, and you said something about, you couldn't kill C-3PO, and I was like going, I was really confused because I mean, I know you're gonna clarify this for me, but just so you understand where I'm at with the whole game.
Sure.
C-3PO can't shoot anybody. He can't deal any damage to anybody.
Correct.
And I'm thinking, he's the last guy on the board, and you can't kill him, so you lose? I don't get it.
Yeah, so essentially the game it was a super close game. We were at the end of the round, so the timer had buzzed, so we're in our final round.
Okay, so that's what.
I think the last units I had available to activate were a set of elite jet troopers. So
those are the little dudes that fly.
Yeah, so
they're cool.
Two figures in there. They've got this great ability where when you get close range with them, you can actually add an extra dice to their attack. So you get to throw 3 dice on their attack, a green and 2 blue dice. And in Imperial Assault right now, getting a 3 dice attack or a 4 dice attack.
Is it the blue dice that's really good?
The green is probably the
best dice.
You might say the best dice out there right now. So, so I was at a point where I believe I was down by 5 points, and I needed to pick up, at least 5 points to stay in the game and keep things going. He had a damaged weak way unit. This is a mercenary elite weak way pirate. So I was able to move one of my jet troopers down and finish him off, and that figure is worth 4 points. Oh, no, so I'm down 5.
Wow!
And now I've come up 4, right? So now I'm 1 point down. And at this point, I'm looking at the board, and I need to find a way to gain that at least that 1 point, if not more, right? My best option at that time was going after his C-3PO figure, who's worth 2 points. A lot of his other figures were at high health, and looking at my assessment of the board is I didn't have a great chance at one-shotting another figure, and so C-3PO was my target, right? So he's a figure that's got 4 health. He's worth 2 points. If I can move
hit him, you win today.
You win and eliminate him, and now I'm up by 1 point. My opponent would have had a chance to activate something else and maybe respond, but it would have kept me in the game and kept it interesting. So I move a jet trooper where he needs to be and take my shot at C-3PO. Need to put 4 damage on him. Only got 3 through.
Dude, you know what this is like? This is like sitting there. You're right on the. You're playing poker and you're ahead, and your opponent has 1 out in the damn deck.
Yeah.
And he hits it on the river, and you're just sitting there like. Wow. Yep.
I had burned all my cards at that point. I had no options left. It was, that was my last hope.
Wow.
Not saying that would have won me the game, because the opponent still would have had a chance
to shoot that round.
It would have come down to him needing to roll some dice and try to eliminate some of my things.
Right. It would at least put the pressure on him to do something.
Certainly. But it was a fantastic game. I felt great about it. Super close, down to the wire. Those are the kinds of games that even when you lose them, you can come away feeling pretty good that you gave it a good effort. You know what I mean?
Awesome. So. Well, anyway, man, congratulations. I mean, you did a great job.
Right.
You represented the Tauntauns well, and man,
thanks. I do appreciate it. Yeah.
This is a great run. So, look into the Imperial Assault community here in this area.
Sure.
What do you feel like needs to happen so that we can continue to grow this, because it has taken a leap, and I really feel like you're a big part of that. Why that happened? Because
we've got Brian, we've got Terry, we've got Brian, and we've got Pat that I know play it pretty consistently.
Sure.
I've tried it with Brian and Terry. They've sat down with me and put a list together for me to play skirmish.
Yep.
For me, it's just not something that I want to put a ton more money into. I'm into X-Wing. I've put a ton of money into that. I've got some Destiny. I've got some Armada.
Right.
So what is it that you feel like needs to happen in this community or in IA in general to grow it? I don't know if it'll ever catch up. I mean, I know that it's your game. Do you feel like it has the opportunity to get to the point of X-Wing, or at least get bigger?
Sure.
Because I think Terry was saying for X-Wing, the first round he knew there were almost 100 players.
Yeah. I think both.
And that was day one. There were 2 days.
I think they were both full. They both had waiting lists. So to one of your questions there, do I see Imperial Assault ever reaching the X-Wing popularity with that size of crowds? Probably not. I think it's just a different beast, right? I do think there's a lot of room for the game to grow in its current state. I think it's a fantastic game. I think there's a lot of fun that you can have with it. Like you guys are saying, I do think there is a fairly high sort of barrier to entry with this game.
Because the cost alone for the core set, $100.
Right.
Man, it's
the cost. It's definitely not as easy to sit down and throw out a couple X-Wings and TIE fighters and start rolling some dice and flying these things around, right? Imperial Assault is it's a little more complicated than that,
right?
And that is one of those barriers to entry, and it's I'd like to see FFG do something to kind of assist, bring those new players into the game. What I think a lot of people find themselves initially attracted to the game is on the campaign mode, right?
Right. And I'm all about the campaign. Like, I want to play the campaign mode. Like, right now, I just want to play the game right now.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people probably get their first taste of Imperial Assault through campaign. They have some fun with it. You learn the game mechanics.
Sure.
And then, you might say, I really like this game. I want to go a little deeper into it. And then that's where the skirmish, kind of comes in, and you can dig deeper on it. As far as growing the interest in the game, I think, like you guys have kind of talked about before in some of your other videos, making new players feel welcome, taking the time to sit down with people and show them, how this game is played, how you can have fun with it, the things you can do with it.
So it comes back to community.
Oh yeah,
and we stress that a lot in our group of how important it is, and we did a whole video on it. We've got another. I feel like we want to do another video on community, but I feel like it's something that Will and I want to talk about as often as possible because it doesn't do anything but help everybody. It's going to it brings people into the stores that are going to spend money, and if the stores stay in business, then we have a place to play. I mean, your friendly local game store is a great place because, and we said this the other day, that you never feel. No one ever comes around pressuring you to spend money while you're there. They're allowing you to come in there and play.
Yeah.
So, by God, you need to go in there and spend some money, even if you're buying a candy bar and a Coke. But, so, I agree. I think building the community up, I think that the things I see is this show, continue to push it and promote it.
Sure.
As well as putting it out there on our different Facebook pages that we have. We've got the Triad X-Wing, we have the Triad Imperial Assault, and then we have the Tactical Tauntaun. And I really feel like too, if we can get things going with, we want to do it with X-Wing, but I'd like to see it done with Imperial Assault, is getting some of the other local stores in our area that even stretch outside of the Triad area involved in some things and just get some fun stuff going. Filming this stuff and throwing up there and just having a good time,
Definitely. I think one of the big things, too, is, the player community trying to organize. We've done this a lot, I know, in our X-Wing community here, but organize these sort of casual play events, whether it's a casual tournament or sort of a casual learn to play day. Something where you've got.
Learn to play day. Wow. I like that.
Yeah. Something where you've got a few people who might be your experts, familiar with the game. They're going to be there to sort of foster that, that sort of ease of play on a certain day.
Well, and you could also get your friendly game store involved by getting them to send stuff out, maybe offering discounts to new players that come in and want to buy some of the stuff. They can come in and learn to play Imperial Assault and get 15% off on the core set.
Sure.
I mean, why if they can sell them like that, it's amazing. They could even do something where they could buy one busted open and sell it at 25% off because it's been open.
Yeah,
right. I mean, they're gonna make money off of that, and if they get somebody, you get, it's the rule of sales. I mean, if you bring 5 people in and teach them the game, one of those people are going to stick around.
Yeah,
and they're going to get into it, and then they're going to
keep going. Yeah,
and they're going to get sucked into it. Which we want. I mean. It's so much fun, and the people are great.
Yeah. So have you seen, since you've gotten started with the game, have you seen the growth continue to grow, or has it gotten to a point where you feel like it's stagnant? Or is it has it grown, but just slowly?
Sure. We're in kind of an interesting, you might call it a lull with Imperial Assault right now. The last big box expansion was Jabba's Realm, which came out...
this right at the beginning of summer, wasn't it?
It's been out since the beginning of the year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I can't remember exact release date, but it was sometime around the end of last year. And we have not gotten the next. We've gotten a small wave, couple of character expansions since then during the summertime, and so we're in this point where FFG has announced the next big box expansion called Heart of the Empire. Looks great, looks fantastic.
Is it gonna be Coruscant?
It is.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It is. It's got a lot of great. It looks like their attempt to bring the Imperial faction sort of up to the power level of the other factions. It's. I'm super excited about it. It's got some,
especially you being an Imperial player.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got.
They are the good guys.
It's got some upgrade, some skirmish, what I would call fixes. Yeah, skirmish fixes for a couple of the key iconic characters that came out early and have been sort of left behind with the power
Now,
creep.
has the Vader
Right,
come
so
in?
that's
is that
so that's part of this expansion.
so that hasn't happened yet.
It
I
is-
know I've seen that.
Yep, it is not out there yet, but there it is a skirmish. It's an upgrade attachment for Darth Vader.
Does it make it better or worse?
Oh, it makes him much better. It
Okay.
reduces his cost, which is a big thing.
Sure.
and
That's
gives
always a
him
good thing.
gives him a slew of new abilities. So it looks fantastic. There's been a lot of people that have just been kind of doing like a print and play testing with this upgrade. Looks great. The other exciting thing that just came out in the last few weeks is that there's two other skirmish, what I would call fixes in there for Han Solo and for Chewbacca.
I saw that on
Yeah.
Facebook. Yeah.
So these are two figures that came out with the first wave in the core set, but due to that nature of power creep over time, they've just kind of been left behind.
Sure.
And now FFG has, I really like what they've done with these fixes. You can tell they're really thinking about the game and
I
what
feel like
makes
they're getting
sense.
more dedicated people working there that dedicated to fixing these things
Yes,
and play
to
testing
really
these
try
things.
to,
I mean, if you
refine
look at
Try
when you look at expansion of anything, and you
Yeah.
see like the list of playtesters is just huge. You know?
Yeah. So those are going to be real exciting, and I think back to your point about growth in the community. I think we're kind of in this lull where early, beginning of the year, you had a lot of people interested in Imperial Assault with Jabba's Realm, a lot of new stuff to play with, a lot of exciting new things, and now it's 6-8 months later, playing with the same stuff, still having a good time with it, but there's a lot of people who are maybe a little. Maybe in the dormant state with
they're
Imperial
looking for
Assault.
something. They're looking for something different.
Waiting for
something
that.
that-
Now we've got
expansion drop.
2018 Star Wars Legion coming out. What is going to happen with? You're saying is in a lull right now. People looking for new things. Is that going to be the new thing? And what do you see that doing to Imperial Assault? That pushes aside. I mean, because you've got Star Wars X-wing, and then you've got Armada. So Armada is to X-wing as Legion will be to Imperial Assault, right?
At least
Because-
that's the way it seems.
right? Because you've got individual ships. Now you've got flight groups. Now you've got individual fighters, and now you've got
You're doing
full
entire armies,
Right.
battlefields full.
Right.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
kind
they look cool at Gen Con. I'm like excited about this thing.
It looks super cool. When it first was announced, there was a lot of the sky is falling concern in the Imperial Assault community about is Legion going to be the Imperial Assault killer? Is Imperial Assault dead because they've announced Star Wars Legion, and do we all just need to sell off all of our Imperial Assault stuff? I am not in that camp at all. I think there is room for both games to exist. I do think there's enough difference between the two games. They offer you a very different experience depending on what you're looking for.
Well, I think the great thing about this hobby in general, and I'm talking about the board gaming, is that you don't have to like the same games I like. I mean,
Sure.
I am not a fan of light games. You know that. I mean, I'm into the heavy games. I will play the light games, as a filler or something like that. But I'm not going to go. People tell me, "Oh, we're going to play a bunch of party games. Would you like to come over?" And I'm not saying I wouldn't go over and do that, but it's not what I'm going to go out there and do. And that's everything about it. I can like these kind of games, and you like these. And when it comes to the different realms of the Star Wars games, that's what's so cool about it is each of us have different tastes in what we want to do. But who cares? We're all having fun and playing the games, and that's the big thing about it. And I think just board gaming in general has done a great thing for getting people back to doing things with each other. I mean, rather than there has been a shift from video games to board gaming for a lot of people. I mean, I'm not saying video games are going off the wayside.
That's
but
how it is with me. I was video gamer. I didn't play board games, and then
it's so much better to talk to people in person, right?
what happened was I had a surge at my house that destroyed my TV, my PlayStation, my Xbox.
Yeah.
And
You're
I'm-
forced to read a book.
Well, yeah, and it was like, okay, we don't have a TV anymore. You know, I don't have the filler of a video game,
Sure.
and I'm waiting for insurance money to come in to replace everything. And that's when I picked up the X-Wing core set.
Nice.
I had seen videos and stuff, and then it was like, wait, this is so much better than sitting behind a controller. You know, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with video games, you know, but I'm just saying for me, it was definitely something clicked for me, and it was like,
Well, and you're not getting sniped by a 9-year-old kid who's
Yeah.
cussing you out.
Yeah. So there's definitely
It's a different experience. Yeah.
So Legion, you feel like Legion. There's plenty of difference between the two of them.
I do think that my impression of Star Wars Legion is that this is FFG's attempt to draw in that classic sort of miniature war game.
The guys
crowd.
who like Warhammer, War Machine, those kind of
Personally, I've never played those games. I don't have that kind of background or experience, but I could see my impression of a lot of those Warhammer games is that you've got to spend a lot of money on building up your army. Now you've got to spend money on getting it painted. Now you've got to get the multiple books.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, and I said that too. And here's what a guy said to me about it. He goes, because I was playing Magic the Gathering. He goes, but you spend more money than I do. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, I have my army. It's complete. It's exactly like I wanted. This is what I play.
Yeah.
He goes, I've got it all painted. I've got all this stuff done. He says, but your stuff rotates out.
Right.
You got to
Always
keep mine. You got to keep
going.
keeping up. So.
Yeah.
He said, yeah, I may change my army one of these days,
little,
but
yeah.
he goes, look, I got $500 invested, and that's it.
Yeah.
How much do you have invested in Magic? And I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think with Legion, you can, if it's like Warhammer or War Machine, you can build an army, and you're pretty satisfied with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I
who
think
knows?
so.
With FFG, I mean, they do entice you to continue to buy stuff.
So when I was at Nova, I had the chance to play the Star Wars Legion demo.
Okay.
I was out there and find out a little more information about it. Had a good
Was it
experience.
the
with
same one they had set up at Gen Con?
Yeah, same.
Amazing. That was so cool.
Same demos. If you've seen the videos out of Gen Con, the same tables. There was the indoor bunker custom table that was out there. All the custom terrain, all the
People
figures
have really
painted.
made some good stuff. Like these guys did that the bunker on indoor. I mean, and it looked identical to the movie
Yep.
set. It was like amazing.
They had another great table that was a Tatooine setup. So you had a bunch of moisture evaporators and kind of desert huts stationed out there.
Yeah.
So my initial impressions are just this game looks fantastic, right? It's super cinematic, with the way that
That's a great
FFG
way
is.
a great way of putting it.
Is demoing this game. Looks great. Got a chance to play it. I played, with the Imperial faction, Imperials all the way, against a rebel group on the indoor bunker map. So they just gave us about a round in the game, but it was great. Got to move Darth Vader around, take some hits at Luke Skywalker. Got to fly some of the speeder bikes.
Those looked cool.
By far, that was my favorite part of the game. I really like the movement.
I was about to say that. I thought that was neat. You move one guy.
Yeah.
And then you just take everybody else and just move them as long as they're within range one of that one guy. They're all there, and they're all considered basically
Correct.
occupying about the same space.
It's not super fiddly with the
Right,
movement. You
right.
don't have to pull out a ton of rulers and things. You've got your one sort of movement stick. You work. Everything works off of your squad leader. Like you said, he moves. The rest of the squad moves in with him. Very easy to pick up. The thing I really liked about using those speeder bikes in that demo too was that they've got this great sort of momentum ability built in. So they're meant to be this really high speed, can't slow down, can't stop kind of unit. So you've always got to do sort of like a mandatory movement with them. So they give you this really this great fun sense of like they're just flying around the battlefield super fast, taking shots as
with
they
an
kinda
Ewok hanging
keep
on it like that
cruising.
with his
Yeah.
feet flying behind him. I love it.
Yeah. Really cool. I really like the movement system. The combat system is sort of that classic, handful of dice sort of thing. It's good. It's tough to gauge a game like this on the essentially vanilla core set. You think about the X-Wing core sets, in a vacuum, or the Imperial Assault core set on its own. those experiences are very different than what you play today, right?
Well, and I'm sure there's going to be some more play testing. They might make some changes.
Yeah.
You know, they're pretty good about trying to, especially when they first come out. I think evening the playing field.
Yep.
You know, and like kind of going back to Imperial Assault and everything, they're trying to get that playing field level with the fixes with Vader and Han.
Yep.
So do we think they're going to make terrain that we can purchase?
That is a big question, and I did ask a couple of those questions while I was out there. So everything that you saw in those demos was
made by someone.
Yeah, they had, they contracted it out for a custom table. There were third-party vendors present at Nova, right, that create and sell a lot of generic or multi-purpose terrain that you could drop into any number of games. Right. And so I was speaking with one of those guys, and I asked him, so you guys looking at this Star Wars Legion game for new terrain to be able to make? And his eyes got big, and he was like, "Oh yes,
yeah, that's awesome. That's great."
I don't know all the details. I think there maybe is some licensing issues where FFG can't lock down the creation of that kind of terrain content exclusively.
So Disney's going to have a lot to say about that, so.
Right? I do think there's room for other third-party vendors to be able to create terrain and allow you to pick it up. Now, what is FFG's ruling going to be on the terrain you're allowed to use in official tournament games? Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see.
Right.
But
they'll probably sell some ad.
Sure, yeah. The one thing I will say, just kind of, sort of on the reality check level with Star Wars Legion, game looks fantastic. What they're showing to you now looks great, but I think it's worth being aware that, as far as I can understand, when you go out and buy this core set box, you open it up, you're pulling out about 30 odd unassembled, unpainted miniatures, right? So just something to be aware of. You're going to have to assemble these things when you get them. If you want them painted, you're going to have to take care of that yourself. None of that great terrain you see on the demos is coming in that box, right? Essentially,
I would pay more for the thing if they would just have them painted like they are, because
it's something to be aware of as you're, looking at the game and getting excited about it.
There's going to be some investment in it, time, some sweat equity in it.
Indeed, yeah.
Well, great. I mean, that's so great. We love having you here. So now I want to ask one thing that we're going to be doing with our interviews is we're going to have some questions that we ask at the end of the interview. And my first one is, what is your favorite Star Wars character of all time?
Ooh, favorite.
I don't care if it's movies, books, whatever.
And now the incorrect answer is Jar Jar.
Well, all right. If you're taking Jar Jar off the table, then you're gonna give me a moment. I gotta go with my big hairy brother Chewbacca.
Chewbacca, great.
Chewbacca.
So, favorite Star Wars movie?
Ooh, favorite movie. I think most people would tell you Empire Strikes Back. I might be a Return of the Jedi guy. Okay.
I will say my favorite scene is the opening scene of that when they're back on Tatooine. I just love that whole series of events. It's
Jabba's
so good.
Palace.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Favorite book that has nothing to do with Star Wars. What is your all-time favorite book?
Ooh, I'm a big Stephen King fan. And I would probably, if I had to pick one, I would probably say The Stand.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
And then my last question: all-time favorite actor.
Ooh, all-time favorite actor. Man, tough question. I'm gonna go with Liam Neeson.
Oh, yeah.
I like Liam Neeson.
Yeah, he's good.
Solid guy. Because big Ewan McGregor fan too, though.
Oh,
yeah. So you got to pick some Star Wars guys, right?
Yeah.
Well, Ryan, we really appreciate you being here on the Tactical Tauntaun with us. It's been great.
Yeah. A lot of information. Good stuff.
What would you think about coming back and doing a teach and playthrough of Imperial Assault?
Sure, I'd be interested. I'm working on kind of in the research and development stages on some alternative formats for getting people into Imperial Assault. Coming up with some sort of quick and easy, almost like a pick up and play mode. So I'm still working on that, but maybe in the future when I've got that idea refined.
I'd love for you to come back.
Yeah.
We'll set the overhead up and we just play maybe a campaign game or even a skirmish, maybe both, maybe do one of each, some different kinds. But man, we'd love to have you back on here and do that. And really, we appreciate your time. I know it's been great, and it was great to hear from you again. Congratulations on your run at Nova. Will, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, that's it for right now. Like Patrick said, love to have you back. Love to do a teach and play. For me, that's when I bought the core set. I went out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a whole lot out there. I'm not saying that the people who have done videos aren't good, but it's just like I'm watching them and I'm kind of scratching my head looking at the rule book. So there's like you said, it's a deep game. It's once you get going in it, then it starts to make more sense. But definitely there's a learning curve there. So anything that can help the community, I think would be great. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you guys having me on.
We'll definitely do that. So, guys, again, thank you guys for watching the Tactical Tauntaun. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, leave some comments below, and we really appreciate you guys. Straighten up.
Fly straight.